start.
Take your time.
So I had taken a workshop with Carol Shelkin, one of our founding members, one of the 3 Carols. And so I was lucky to be invited to a meeting to gather together people interested in mosaics. I remember wondering how this would turn out. The only people I knew who did mosaics, except for that small class I took with Carol, were the folks I knew from the Perkins Center, where I took classes for a long time by then. Again, a very small group. So even though it was a long drive across the river, I was interested in attending because I was lonely in my mosaic making, and I thought it would be fun to meet more like-minded creators, right? We all sort of felt that way. When I walked into the Mainline Art Center that day and saw about 50 people, wow. I remember the huge smiles on the faces of the people who planned the meeting. Remember, I didn't know who they were then, except for Carol Shelkin, and of course now they are my friends. I remember the scrambling for more chairs, and I remember them saying that it was an amazing and wonderful surprise to see so many people interested in starting a group like this. To be honest, I only expected about a dozen or so people. So I don't know if anyone was more surprised than I was, or more excited and grateful that our founders decided to do this. When I was asked to become a board member along with Claire Brill, hi Claire, about a year or so into the new Mosaic Society of Philadelphia, I was so moved. I had already grown to love the people in the group. The generosity of those who would share their techniques and their knowledge, the unconditional care of every member wanting to support their friends and encourage everyone in their mosaic making journey. And of course, the warm and loving friendships that had so quickly emerged in that short time. Sorry, my heart is pounding. This is why I wrote this to read, because that is my favorite part of this group, the friendships. I have such great friends that I have made in this group. And when I was membership chair and had to report at meetings, it wasn't uncommon for me to get teary like I am doing right now, as I looked around the room and saw so many beautiful faces, caring and lovely people looking back at me. Since that first meeting, so many things have happened. We came up with a name. We became a not-for-profit organization. Some faces have changed. Some people only came to a few meetings, and then new friends joined and stayed. We've lost some dear friends, and I still think of them all the time. We've had exhibits all around the region. We've brought world-class teachers to our groups for workshops. We've saved an imperiled mosaic in Philadelphia. We've hosted SAMA. Wow, that was a huge, huge effort, and we did it so beautifully. We brought attention to the diversity and beauty of mosaic art all over the Philadelphia region, and we have not only survived a worldwide pandemic thanks to our amazing board and committee volunteers, but I think it's even made us stronger, truly. For those of you who are relatively new to MSoP, you may not have been to that first meeting, but you are a part of the ever-strengthening fabric, or should I say an integral piece in this mosaic of this group. And I truly believe that this is just the beginning of a rich future for the Mosaic Society of Philadelphia. And if you know me well, you know I mean it when I say, I love you all. I truly do. And thank you for letting me share my thoughts.
That was wonderful.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. Beautiful, Sharon.
I couldn't think of anyone more passionate to ask. I didn't even ask her to write that, and she wrote it. And she's like, do you think it's okay if I read this? I was like, yes. We don't have to talk about this any bit more. You're reading it.
I have a question. This is for Carol Shelkin, Carol SG, and Carol Hensley. I thought the very first meeting was at Abington Art Center. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Right. Was it the second meeting then? Or something at Abington Art Center?
I think, hi, everybody. I'm Carol
Hi,
Shelkin.
Carol.
For those
Hi,
of you
Carol.
who I have not met yet. I think the first meeting could have been in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Jessica Cherry,
Yes.
Carol Hemsley, Carol Sturtenbrod, and myself had dinner, and we talked about the gathering. We talked about gathering the people that we knew and our students to have a tribe, to support each other, to be together. And I think that was really the first meeting. When we got back to Philadelphia, the second meeting was at Carol Sturtenbrod's house, right?
Yes.
And that's when we started talking about what kind of group we want to have.
And then we had we went and had a lunch in Manayunk with a few people. I only knew a couple people there. Everybody brought a couple people, and to see if there was any interest at all in forming a group.
And I will never forget, that was so moving when you talked about how many people came and how we had to scramble for chairs. We had a dream, but we didn't know who was going to come.
Yeah,
That was so amazing.
it was amazing. It was great.
So that was
That's
main
in my
line
memory too.
center, right?
That was main line, and luckily they had a lot of chairs.
Right, right.
Yeah.
If
Did
you
you-
build it, right? If you build
Did you
it, they
know
will
each
come.
other? Did you know each other in the Philadelphia area before you went to SAMA?
I did not. I knew nobody. I actually, at SAMA, they had a sign for people that were from Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York. And I went to SAMA not knowing anybody, just being an art teacher and wanting to make mosaic. And I sat down at the table and I saw Carol Hemsley first. And I said, "Hi, my name is Carol. Where are you from?" She said, "Carol from Philadelphia." And then Carol Sturtenbrod sat down. I said, "Hi, my name is Carol. Where are you from? And what's your name?" And she said, "Carol."
From Philadelphia.
And then Jess sat down and I said, "We're just going to have to call you Carol."
Analogous.
Yeah.
But I think the three of you knew each other, no?
Yeah.
Well, I knew Carol, and then through Carol, I met Jess.
Carol Sturtenbrod, I knew.
Yeah, Carol Sternbrod. And I met Jess, I guess, at one of the SAMAs
One of the Samas, yeah.
through Carol Sternbrod.
Yeah.
How did you spread the word so quickly amongst other Mosaic people? Is it through your classes or?
It was the classes because we were teaching. So we just kept telling people, and then the people like Laura Lynn Stern, I knew from the tile community. So I think we just reached out to all our students and people we knew.
And Katya was there in the beginning.
Katya was there as well in the beginning, Katya McGurk. Yeah. So it was definitely whispered down the lane. We all told everybody we knew, and then they just kept passing it down. And then, so we had no idea who was going to show up.
Huh.
Yeah.
What were some of your original goals? Did you write down like some dreams that you had for the group, or are you just taking it meeting by meeting?
I think we were trying to come up with a mission right from the beginning, what our mission was going to be.
Yeah, and I remember one of the most important things to us was that that we were inclusive of anyone of any level, because I know there were some other mosaic groups that you had to kind of show a portfolio to get into and things like that, and we didn't want that. We just wanted everyone to be included and come and be friendly. And I have to say, this is like it's the friendliest group I've ever known. Everyone is happy to share any knowledge, which is really wonderful.
Really amazing
That, but also
this long,
defining mosaic as the artist defines mosaic, whether you use small t or paper or, horseshoes or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you consider it mosaic, you were in, or were a supporter of mosaic. You didn't even have to make mosaic.
Right.
Right.
Carol's right in saying that we all agreed that we wanted to be inclusive.
And it really shows. I was self-taught. I took one class, and when I came, I was very intimidated to be honest with you, for a while. And then you are all so open to any skill level. I didn't know what SAMA was or ATC. I'm like, what does ATC stand for? It's the trading card, which we're now calling the mini Mosaic. So we changed that to simplify it. But yeah, and some, I think all of you did a presentation or two along the way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the thing I'm proudest of is that we all decided we wanted to make an organization that would survive without us. So it was really important from the beginning to set everything up so that people, and actually Claire Brill was really, really, I think this was Claire Brill's baby. Great job in this, is that she helped set up an organization that you could, it wasn't a cult of personality that was going to live beyond all of us. And that's the thing I'm most excited about. That everybody has stepped up and filled all the roles, and we were able to make a framework that people could change as they needed it, but it was growing with the organization. We worked really hard at the framework.
Yeah.
And as you said, being inclusive, you know, it was much more a big tent. Please come be in the tents, not that's not a mosaic or you don't belong here.
I remember working, this is Claire, I remember working on the mission statement. And, you know, we had a great, that's when we took a retreat, I think, the 6 of us. And we really worked that mission statement until it was the way that we wanted it to be. Just spoke to
we enthusiastically worked on that mission statement.
And lovingly.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say something here, though. I think Claire definitely deserves a little crown on this, because our mission statement originally was probably 5 or 6 lines long, and she simplified it to 1 line. Thankfully. Thankfully.
Are there any other original members in the Zoom today that were at one of the first couple of meetings that would like to contribute? Anybody?
I was there. This is Annabella.
Oh, hi.
And I was completely stunned that there were so many mosaicists around here. I thought it was just me.
And Annabella, how far did you drive to get to the meeting?
Well, like an hour and 20 minutes, maybe. That's the usual.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's in Jersey, it takes me a couple of hours to get there.
Except if you're driving with Carol Shelkin, it takes about 10 minutes to get to
Oh, I don't know, because Carol and I have some epic drives, so we're not going there.
Heard that.
Yeah,
Nancy.
I just remember being completely stunned that there were so many people around.
Nancy, you know, who brought the that mosaic and saved that mosaic.
Oh yes, save the mosaic.
That was
great.
Yeah, wow, that was an amazing
Lowe's
project.
Hotel.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Nancy, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows this, but Nancy, why don't you talk a little bit about the mosaic that you saved from the Lowe's Hotel? I mean, you were the leader in that, and you did an amazing job gathering Stephen Mioto and the city of Philadelphia and everybody else.
Yeah, that was very exciting. I was taking a class with you, Carol Shelton, and I was staying at Lowe's Hotel, and they had this big 40-foot by 7-foot mosaic over the kitchen. And I'd be, you know, eating my meals there after this weekend at sessions that we were having. And I was looking at and then I got word that they were going to redo the lobby and they were going to throw this thing out. So I guess I started with you, Carol Shelton, talking about it, and thought it would be a great thing for the Mosaic Society of Philadelphia to involve. You put me in touch with what's his name from
Stephen Mioto.
No, not Stephen Mioto. The guy from Philadelphia.
From City Hall.
Yeah, from City Hall, who gave us a list of places. I remember calling Steve and finding out from the designer of the mosaic, Oh my.
Richard.
Richard. Yeah, Richard. What? And
Oh, yeah.
he said that Stephen Mioto was the fabricator, and I got his information. Called him, and he said, "I'm on a scaffold right now. Can I call you back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, when you get down." So, and he called, and I thought, he'll never call. Called back. He was so enthused. He didn't remember the mosaic at all. He said, I remember something in the city of Philadelphia, but and he came to the meeting and
There it
saw
is.
saw the mosaic and became very involved, and it just everything fell together so perfectly. And my niece Lois, my gosh, she worked at the hotel. That's why I was staying there in the first place. And we had the meetings
There it is.
There it is.
meeting.
There it is.
was
Great
very,
shot.
Showing it.
and then we had that
Yeah.
big fundraiser where here I go again with my
Jane Golden was there.
who?
The mural art program.
Jane.
Jane.
Jane. Yes.
Mural arts, yeah.
Yep. And she came and spoke. That was very exciting. She didn't do that often, apparently. And the whole thing just came together. It was a lot of work, I guess,
Oh,
but it
that's
just
so cool.
it fell into place so easily that it was wonderful. Everybody was so great to work with. And I
Was it-
feel the same way Carol feels. I just love all of you so much.
Yeah.
We've
It
had
looks amazing where it is now.
And Nancy had the opportunity with everybody else to rehome the mosaic, and it's now still in Philadelphia,
oh yeah.
and it's
It's
at the
actually-
High School for Performing Arts right on Broad Street.
That's cool.
It's such a feel good story.
It looks so much better there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see it.
Yeah.
We were invited to help. I think that's Annabella. I think that's you.
Yeah, I did. I
We're
was there.
invited to grout the connecting parts because it was so big. It had to be cut in 4 foot squares, or so it had to
Alyssa,
be grout.
I have a ton of photos from that day, so I'll send them to you
Okay. I thought
for the archives.
I'm just Googling.
One more thing about that. I'm
Wow,
going to show
cool.
you. This works in my living room.
Oh, good. I was hoping you would.
Great.
I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These that
There are
couldn't fit.
pieces of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Oh
I see.
no.
You didn't hack
Beautiful.
off tonight, so tell.
Yeah, that was, we took parts off of the end and sold them.
Because it wasn't going to fit. in the new-
Yeah, because it couldn't fit the way it was.
And it
That's
was
cool.
auctioned off, and Nancy bought it.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Lee bought one for me, and the Mosaic Society of Philadelphia.
Did you buy it, or did we buy it for you? I can't remember.
One, you bought one for me, and then I think Lee bought the other one. So it was a very, very exciting time.
How could he not remember doing that though? How could he not remember doing that?
Well, if you go to New York and you see what he has done, I
Yeah,
guess it's
Stephen-
understandable.
Stephen
very
Mioto is the Stephen Mioto is the artist that works on the New York subway. If you've ever been to the subway system,
But did he make that one, or was it his godfather?
he made that one.
He made it, yeah.
I couldn't remember.
And that
if
was
he
one
had
of
done
his
it or-
easier things, I think, don't you?
Because
He did
he's
it
been
with
called to
made it with a
rescue
group of
people's aids, and it turns out that it was his godfather that had made them. So I couldn't remember.
No, this was an earlier one. This one was only like 20 years old or something.
Oh, okay.
So he said he made it with a group of his assistants.
And it was the interpretation of somebody's, he's a fabricator as well as an artist. He does the artistic interpretations of other people.
It was also right before we started putting them on mesh, and they wouldn't have been able to do that. He said.
Yeah, and it's
We put it on
interesting. I don't know
cardboard.
who just said he was a fabricator, but that's an interesting point to discuss because he doesn't consider himself a mosaic artist because he copies designs of other people's artwork. In other words, originally that was a watercolor. made by a very famous artist in Philadelphia by the name of Richard Watkins.
Right, he came to our meeting too.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And
He was in one of the pictures, actually.
Yeah.
yes, yeah, the black guy with the hat on.
Yes.
That was Richard Watkins, and he's very well known in Philadelphia, and he is the original artist. And Stephen just considers himself a fabricator. He copied somebody else's art.
Well, that's a whole nother topic for another day. We want to thank everybody for attending today. I'm so glad everyone made it possible. And maybe we could, rejoin next year in person and continue rehashing all these great memories.